and welcome everybody. This is Desfast Warrior, and we are doing the Malefic Mayhem profile. I know this probably isn't 100% the best way to do it, but this is the way that I have it figured out. You could trade out the traps, and if you want the Ash for some more max Cs, but besides that, I would say that this deck profile is pretty good. Okay, so first off, we're going to start off with Blue Eyes. We are running the Blue Eyes engine in here. The Blue Eyes engine is really good for specifically the Malefics because it likes to spit out the Blue Eyes, it likes to put the Blue Eyes back in your hand, it likes to get the Blue Eyes to you. And in this deck, that is actually really good. So yeah, that's why we're running the two Blue Eyes, is because we have the Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon, and we have the White Stone of Ancient, so if this thing gets destroyed, boom, you just summon a Blue Eyes. Or you can send it off of Foolish Burial. Then we have the Gears. We're playing two of them specifically because we want to draw the one of here. That's the reason why we're playing one of it, is because we do not want to draw this. But yeah, you'll have your field spell up, you'll play one of these, tribute it off, boom, summon this guy, and then you will add to your hand the Blue Eyes. And then you'll summon this guy. We're playing two of them because we have Paradigm in here. If you want to go above 40, you can. But for a 40 card deck, that's the reason I have the one Ash in here. See, Malefics are big, giant bricks when you don't have a field spell. Albaz fixes that. Honestly, Albaz fixes this whole deck. He is the reason why this deck is functional. So basically, if you have a brick in your hand, example, you have Rainbow in your hand. Rainbow Dragon is the only Malefic that says you can have the card in your hand. So that's perfect, because all you got to do is toss Rainbow, summon Malefic Rainbow. Albaz, though, if you have Paradox in the graveyard, but you have Rainbow in your hand, you can toss it, send this, you can still summon the Malefic. If you have Truth Dragon in your hand, even better, because Truth Dragon wants to be in the graveyard. Okay. We have three of them because you want to see him in your opening hand, honestly, especially if you're going second, which this deck can go 80% of the time, can go second. And then the other 20% of the time, you get some of your traps, you go first, you are ready to just go to town. This deck does not like summoning more than 3 times. So you are not going to be hurt very much by your summon limit, unless you decide you want to go into your super cannon OTK, which I will show you how to do that here in a second. We got the Malefic because we got the Blue Eyes in the deck. This right here is how you like this is good. Like this is for protecting your field spell. You want this on the field, but you only want it on the field to protect the field spell. You don't really want it for anything else unless you have multiple Malefics up. But here's the thing, unless you absolutely have to, you're going to be sending the Malefic Blue Eyes to the graveyard with your parallel gear. So when you have a field spell, you can summon the Malefic Paradox gear, you can tribute it, then it will add this, and then it will add this to your hand. You will send them to the graveyard. I know what you're thinking. Don't you need Blue Eyes? No, because White Stone of Ancient will add Malefic Blue Eyes back to your hand. And that is the reason we're running the Blue Eyes engine in here. Is because most of this deck wants to eat like the Blue Eyes engine. So that's why we're running the Blue Eyes engine in here, is because it's a lot more fluid than people think it is. Okay. We're running the Rainbow. I know we're running, if we were running 3 of these, we wouldn't have to run the Rainbow. But the Rainbow is also good for the discard for Albaz. And a few other cards in here discard as well. So it's a good discard fodder. You need this because he's the big beater. You need this because he's the big beater. And you need this because he's the big beater. And you specifically need only 3 of them. Why? Because your Malefic World at the beginning of your turn, if you don't get ashed, warning, if you get ashed when using Malefic World, you will lose your draw. That's the biggest problem with this deck. Besides that, this deck really doesn't have too many problems. So you're going to add all 3 of these to your hand. And then your opponent's going to be like, well, I picked one. And it doesn't matter because they're all 4,000. The reason why we originally only ran one of this guy, or one Paradox, is because in certain situations, he will put Paradox back in your deck. And then we're running the One Truth Dragon because we can foolish it. Or discard it. And this card, here's the one problem with it. This card is amazing. This card makes the card a giant beat stick. This makes the card a giant beat stick. And as a giant beat stick, when your opponent can't do anything else, this card is amazing. If this is the only card on your field, and your opponent doesn't have much, this is the best card in the game. Because you attack one monster, it wipes your opponent's whole board. Dark Hole we are running for the very specific reason that it does not target. The best decks right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost all of them either have target protection, or they just have, I get sent to the graveyard, I don't die. So Dark Hole gets past some of that. Then we have the Foolish to send whatever you need to at the time. We have the one Terraforming, because you will start off with no Malefic World or no Mound of the Bound Creator. We will get to the Mound of the Bound Creator here in a second. Lightning Storm, because you want to go second, and because the way that this deck works, if your field spell goes, your whole entire board is clear. So if they don't kill you on the crackback, you can wipe their board, start again. We are running the Pot of Prosperity. I know, it will halve the damage you do, but if you end up going first, this is the best card in your deck. Because here's the thing, this is what you send off the Prosperity. If you have Albaz in your hand, you don't have to send the Swamp Dragon, or both of them, I mean. But the best thing to do with Prosperity is one Swamp, one Glory, and one Albion. If you have the Albaz in your hand, and you don't need Panzer Dragon, so you're not going up against a machine deck, then you can send Panzer instead, and keep the 2 Mud Dragons. But you never want to send your second Paradox, or any of your one-ofs. But yeah, the reason we're running Panzer Dragon is because if you're fighting someone who has a machine deck, Albaz is a dragon. So he'll take care of it, and then if they immediately pop that card, you can destroy one of any card on their field. So Panzer Dragon, despite looking like a joke, it is actually a decent tech in this deck. Of course, we're running all the other stuff. We're running the Blue Eyes because we are running the Blue Eyes package. And because the Blue Eyes is really good, actually. This is honestly one of the best fusions, besides, of course, Mary Jade. Okay. We're going to get to the rest of them here in a second. So yeah, we got past Truth, we got past all that. Okay. So we have Branded in White because this is just a fusion. And because if we discard it on Albaz, we set it, and then next turn we got another fusion. We're running the Branded because it is, I'm going to be honest, it's very good Ash bait. If your opponent has Ash, and you are trying to use either Whitestone or Gear, it's worth the waste. It's worth, bam, they have to Ash it. If they don't Ash it, you go to town with Mirror Jade on them. Or not Mirror Jade, but, you know, like you could either do Tyrant. Oh, actually, you can't do Tyrant. Okay. But yeah, you could either do Mary Jade, or you could do one of the other fusions. But yeah, I'm just saying, it's good Ash bait, honestly. Okay, Malefic World, you will, not brick per se, but you will have a lot of times where you struggle, and then you will need to have those big beat sticks in your hand. So it is worth the possible Ash to try to use it. Okay. Mound of the Bound Creator is because almost everything in this deck is level 10 or higher. And a lot of the fusions are level 10. Or at least a couple of the fusions are level 10. So it makes a good, just like you hit them, they're all in defense mode because they're trying not to be killed by your 4,000 beat stick. They take 1,000. Or if they're in attack mode because they didn't realize that you were about to play a giant 4,000 beat stick, you hit them for 2,000 plus an extra 1,000. So yeah, it's really good in this deck. No, we don't have any divine monsters in the deck. That part just goes unused. Okay, we have the 3 Malefic Territory because it semi-protects the field spell and it also gives you the field spell. Plus, it's good as Ash Bait. Because if you have Malefic World or Mound of the Bound Creator in your hand, you play this. They activate one of their negates, they pop it, or they activate their Ash to try to negate it. It like I said, it's just a waste because you just put down the field spell immediately and they just wasted resources. We're running the 1 Malefic Divide, even though I feel like we should be running 2, is because a lot of times what's going to happen is you're going to play your Malefic monster. They're going to pop it. You're going to bring it back either on your next turn or on their turn so they can't OTK you. Threatening Roar is so they don't OTK you. Evenly Matched is when it's your first or second turn and you summon all your stuff, and then they Mystical Space Typhoon your field spell. So you could wipe their board, and then end your turn, or they have to end their turn, and then... yeah. It's just good for leveling the playing field so you can get the OTK on the next turn. And Perm, of course, it's basically the secondary Ash in the deck. Malefic Tune... you are either going to discard this, or you're going to place it and hope that they destroy your Malefic without killing you. Okay, we're running the 2 skill drain because in an even world where most monsters have no effects, Malefics are going to win 9 out of 10. And we're using the 1 summon limit because, honestly, if you want, you could do 2 summon limits instead of the Threatening Roar. Because if you end up going first, or if you go second and your opponent didn't do much, and you fail the OTK, you flip this, they end their turn, you finish them. Now we're going to do this. Okay. So we have Mud Dragon for Albaz. Mud Dragon for well, actually we have the 2... because you want to send 1 off Prosperity. We have Panzer for if someone is playing Cyber Dragon or Ancient Gear or any other machine deck. We have this because Albaz is a Dark Dragon. We have this because Albaz, and we have this because Albaz. We have this because we have the Blue Eyes package. We have this because Albaz. We have this because you need that for your Malefic monsters. We have this because for your Malefic monsters. We have 2 of these because you need 1 for this guy and 1 for this guy. Now, I'm going to show you how to summon Super Dreadnought. And then I'm going to show you some footage of basically how the deck runs. And it does really well, surprisingly, against semi-meta, and even decent against a little bit of some meta decks. Okay, so basically, yeah. So this is what you're going to do. So you play a field spell, you summon Malefic Cyber End Dragon, and Rainbow, or Malefic Paradigm. And then after you summon one of these, or you summon 2 of these actually, after you've played Malefic Territory on the field, you go for the OTK. They survive the OTK, and this is like even with the field spell, like they have like 1,000 left, right? You overlay them at the end of after your battle phase, hit them for 2k, and even if they're somehow not dead, they'll be so low that there's not much they can do. And the next turn, you just finish them with either just a pop or just using up the resources or OTKing them. Like I said, it's a fairly simple deck. Like I said, I know we're running a lot of traps, But honestly, that's because a lot of times decks will just switch everything to defense mode. And here's another thing. With this deck, this is the only deck where if you negate their abilities, the monsters are stronger. The biggest thing holding this deck back is the monster's own abilities. So if they negate your monster just got stronger. And that's one thing I will see is I will play like when they see these have 0 attack and 0 defense, they're not going to use their imperm on these. They're going to use their imperm on this or any of these because they're big, giant, scary monsters. They're going to be terrified. And if they know anything about blue eyes, they're going to imperm this. And then once they've impermed, you smack Stardust on there. Because this will protect your field spell. But yeah, now to show you guys some video footage. Okay, we're starting off with Dark Hole to see what he does. Because he's going to summon a monster. That was weird. Okay. Oh, okay. Perfect, okay. Okay. You were a cat and you need to calm down. Oh, you lucky son of a pickle eater. I bide myself a turn. If I survive, I can win. Ow. Don't have Ash and I win. This guy, okay, I was gonna say. Okay. Okay. If I'm able to whittle him down, I could win. Okay, because Malefic Territory is protecting Malefic World. Skill Drain is on its own. Cyber and Dragon is protected by Skill Drain and... yeah, Skill Drain. I'm very confused on what he's doing, unless he's got Revolt. He might have Revolt. Whiptail, okay. Okay. All I have to worry about is Ash. As long as he doesn't have Ash, I win. Do it, attack my monster. Doesn't know. He doesn't know. That's pretty risky to summon that. I have no other choice. Okay. Okay. Give me one of the beaters, please.
And Albaz, finish him off. That feels so good. I was saying, that's not how that works, man. You're funny. You, sir? We're both playing Big Bungus Turbo. Game wants me to win, apparently. And I like that. Seriously? That's so dumb. Finally.
Shoot, he's... Weird.
Sir, you were playing too many bricks. But yeah, that's a pretty good summary of what the deck does.